As I'm sure you all know by now, I take my townie makeovers extremely seriously. For the last 5 years, I've been working on my own personal save file where I make over the townies, make them look more like my Sims, but more importantly, give them all very, very unique personalities and kind of just define them more as a person. Think about what they may get into in the future if they are a younger Sim, maybe think out their past if they're that little bit older, and you lot apparently also take these very, very seriously. So many of you asked for this type of video, and putting all of my townies in one video was going to be far too much, so I've decided to split this into 4 parts where we're going to be diving in deep to my townie makeovers. I'm going to be showing you every single outfit that they're wearing. I will say a lot of them are wearing custom content, so I highly doubt I'll be able to like get back to every single one of you who may be requesting certain assets, but I will try to give you a heads up as to maybe where they're from, if they're even still available, because like I said, I've been working on this for 5 years. But without further ado, let's get into it, because this is already a pretty long video. I've sped up these clips kind of like a creator sim video, and I'm going to be going through all of these fairly quickly, but of course we're starting off in the Sims 4 base game in Willow Creek, to be exact, with the Spencer Kim Lewis household. First up, we have Eric, who is materialistic, glutton, and also self-assured. I have decided in my save file, obviously I am fortunate enough and privileged enough to own all of the packs for The Sims 4, so I can kind of play around outside of base game. He is a doctor in my save. I just felt like that really fit him. Next up, we have the one and only Vivian Lewis, one of my favorite townies. Honestly, I think such an underrated townie. She is what I like to call the glamour of Willow Creek. She not only provides for the community, she's obviously a massive foodie. I definitely see her in like the culinary career. Maybe she's potentially retired now, but you know she is still serving up the goods. She is baking, she is cooking. I like to think of her as a caterer, even though obviously we don't really have a caterer career in The Sims 4. Life and soul of the party. If you are having a party, you better invite Vivian Lewis, because you know she is gonna keep the vibes so good. Then of course her daughter-in-law, Alice Spencer Kim, who is married to Eric Lewis, and they have a daughter called Olivia. Now Alice is pretty basic, I guess, in comparison to the others. She kind of just has like similar traits to what they gave her in the game. I actually haven't changed many traits. I may go in and change some eventually if I don't really feel like they fit like the character or the headcanon that I have. I say she's basic, she's very cool. I am extremely jealous of Alice Spencer Kim, all the clothes that she wears. But yeah, she is definitely still an artist. I never want to take that kind of like creative streak away from her. And she's into like almost every single creative outlet that we have. Obviously, more recently in businesses and hobbies, she's probably picked up a pottery wheel. And then her father, Dennis Kim, who is retired, but I like to think is like a gardener slash carpenter. Hands down, one of the cutest Sims I have ever made. I said this in a video I recorded like a few days ago now, where I actually removed the custom content from my townie makeovers just to see how much of a car crash they were. He was still adorable. I will never be able to replicate his eyes ever again. I don't know how, but I truly popped off with him. And then finally, Olivia Kim Lewis, who is the kid of all kids in my Sims 4. She's bright, she's colourful, she just is a rambunctious scamp, like to a T, even though that's not her aspiration, which is quite funny. She is the Sim that pretty much every kid knows. She connects every Sims 4 child to every other Sims 4 child. Moving on to the Gots. Now, the Gots are icons, let's be real. I did obviously base Bella off the older version of Bella before we actually got like their own townie makeover, I guess, like the official townie refresh, just because I personally prefer that Bella, and like I said, this was pretty much started in 2020. The Goths were definitely one of the first families that I ever made over. More so because I had already made over Mortimer like a couple of times. There's videos of me calling him like Daddy Goth, making him over in like 2017 or something ridiculous like that. He's pretty suave, he's pretty sexy. I definitely based him more so off Gomez Addams because I definitely obviously think the Goths are based off the Addams family. And these two, I mean, you don't really want to mess with the iconicness of the Goths. I haven't really come up with any particular different like headcanons for them. He's an author. I'm fairly sure Bella is like a spy in base game. Surprisingly, with how much I play this family, I genuinely can't really remember what they are into. I like to think that Cassandra grows up to be like a famous pianist or violinist. I can definitely see her being in an orchestra or like a touring quartet or something along those lines. Definitely a musician, even though she is quite gloomy. She obviously has the musical aspiration. I can't remember what it is called. And then Alexander, unfortunately, a lot of the kids in my save file do have an awful lot of personality, whereas Alexander, I mean, he wears black, he wears red, and that's pretty much all there is to say about him. He is a little bookworm like his dad. I can just like imagine him being so quiet and just like reading books all weekend when he's not in school, so probably gonna grow up to be an author and follow in his dad's footsteps. I find it so funny when I talk about Bob Pancakes because in a video that I did absolutely ages ago, kind of going over my townie makeovers, I didn't go over every single one as in depth as I'm obviously going to be in this series. I said he was this like happy-go-lucky guy who like barbecues for the neighborhood and stuff, and someone was like, you're saying all of this about Bob Pancakes when his traits are loner, slob, and gloomy, and he really likes to keep to himself. I feel like that's kind of the perception that he puts on for people. I feel as if food is kind of Bob's love language, and the way he kind of shows his love, he probably like never tells people that he loves them apart from his kid. He very much tells Iggy that he loves him, but I don't really think he tells like Eliza that he loves her, and to be fair, he may not, you know. Their relationship does definitely seem quite strained, but I do think she kind of makes him feel guilty for who he is. Not inherently, I just think because she's like so outgoing and like wants to kind of be the center of attention. Bob is like, you know what, I can put on a happy face and I can barbecue for people, and in turn I'm providing them with food that I really like. I did actually keep their toddler in my own personal save file. This is Iggy. I see Iggy growing up to be a little skater boy. I actually designed him as a teenager, then aged him back down to the toddler, and he's so cute. The OG thruple of The Sims 4, even before Lovestruck came out, we have Travis Scott, Liberty Lee, and Summer Holiday. My headcanon is that both Liberty and Travis are in love with Summer Holiday. That's kind of the love triangle that I see. She moved into town, those two were already best friends, and then, you know, love blossomed and they all kind of fancied her. These three are all based off My Sims. Liberty, I think, looks maybe the most like her My Sim, but Travis is kind of this like very ambitious and extroverted, kind of like not a jock, but a tech geek who made his fortune really early in life. I feel like they did Travis Scott so dirty in The Sims 4. Honestly, justice for my Travi, because I absolutely had the biggest crush on him when I was young and I was playing My Sims. Liberty, I mean, just so cool. I absolutely adore her so much. I mean, she could step on me at any time. I don't know how Summer Holiday truly has resisted for this long. And then obviously Summer, she's kind of like the sporty, athletic, like pretty girl next door type figure, and that's kind of what I went with for her. I mean, again, another sim that I don't personally think they really did justice to in this game. I think they could have done so much more with summer holiday, and I really think they missed the mark on like the girl next door kind of vibes with her, which is wild because she could have been so easy to make like that, and instead they just kind of made her this living nightmare that I know so many people absolutely hate in this game. Another iconic family that you really don't want to change the lore too much of is obviously the Calientes. However, I did look back at their Sims 2 lore, and I was definitely influenced by their Sims 2 characters when it came to making them over in my townie save files. So for the twins, I've gone with way more of like an alien look to them. I've kind of elongated their faces, their features, made them way more sharp like they used to be in The Sims 2, and also gave them more of those like alien hybrid eyes that they had, because those were definitely a defining feature of them in The Sims 2, and I love that lore. I mean, I would even go so far as to like maybe making them both alien hybrids, even though I don't think that actually particularly does anything in The Sims 4, because they don't have like alien powers or anything like that. It would be fun to turn them into aliens as well and have them be like full aliens, maybe with the twins as their disguises. The one and only Don Lothario, again, I feel like I just maybe suaved him up a little bit. He is the skinny jean epitome. He wears shirts and skinny jeans in almost every single outfit that I gave him. He basically just has like F-boy energy. That's the best way I can describe it. And I did start making over Katrina, but I want her to look more like her Sims 2 version, so I haven't done all of her outfits or anything yet. There are a couple of Sims I have not pinned down yet, but I will. My baby, my baby. That is my Jeffrey Landgrab. Thank you very much. He is a professor at the university. He wants to be an author, but he mainly writes like papers and stuff like that, and he's just a great university professor. He cares about every single one of his students, just like he cares about his son. And no, I'm not talking about Malcolm, I am talking about Johnny Zest. He is a supportive father in my eyes. He still goes to all of his son's comedy shows, even though Nancy has forbidden him to go. Nancy, I have given a little bit of plastic surgery to. Sad that plastic surgery isn't in The Sims 4 like it was in The Sims 3, but that is my plastic surgery girly. She basically had some procedures done to make her look more like Judith Ward, even though Judith Ward isn't in this video and looks completely different. I like to think of Nancy Landgrab like Velma Von Tussle from Hairspray. I feel like whenever anyone sees her in my townie makeovers, they're like, is that Velma? And then Malcolm was very much just inspired by kind of, I guess, like rich boy, you know, holidays in the Hamptons, and also Nathan Prescott from Life is Strange. Bratty, spoiled, but I also kind of can't help but feel sorry for him. I just wanted to be really, really playful with Johnny Zest. He's still a comedian in my save file, and he just has like all of these fun outfits, probably thrifted because he's been written out of the will by Nancy, and is basically trying to survive, as shown by his home, as a very beginning comedian who isn't earning an awful lot of money. I wanted to dress him down a bit. I feel like they dressed him far too formally. Next up we have the Roomies, a four-piece who all reside in Oasis Springs together. These lot are actually based off the New Girl cast. I don't know if that is like general knowledge that the community knows. Obviously it was like quite a big fact when the base game first came out, but I feel like if you maybe weren't there in like between the years of 14 to 16, you maybe don't know that. So Zoe Patel, obviously Zoe Deschanel, very, very similar names. And I have ran with the fact that Zoe is a primary school teacher, elementary school teacher, and she kind of has themed outfits. She has very seasonal outfits. She matches her earrings to the season that she's in, and the kids absolutely love it. She's kind of my Miss Honey. Mitchell is the Nick of the group. He is a honestly failing comedian. He's not doing as well as Johnny Zest, let's be real. So obviously he has to work as a bartender. That's kind of what I have him written as in my mind. Jay Huntington III is the Schmidt, even though he looks more like David from Schitt's Creek. In my personal opinion. The cowboy boots, don't ask. I obviously do a lot of my makeovers on Twitch, and my Twitch chat sometimes takes part in how we should make over a sim. Jay actually like randomized into the cowboy boots for one of his outfits, and we were like, what if we just make that one of his personality traits? So he's wearing cowboy boots and is dressed basically like Mr. Darcy in a couple of his outfits, which I fear is some people's types. I'm not looking at anyone in particular. Plumbella. And then Gavin is the Winston of the group, and I like to think that he is a journalist. Obviously, he has the writing aspiration, and I think journalist is a pretty fun career move for him. I say move, that might actually be his job in base game. I don't really like play that household ever, so I'm really not too sure what any of their careers are from the get-go. First up of the growing together household, some of my very favorites in The Sims 4 when it comes to townies. We have Mila Munch and her boys. The youngest, Lucas, is her absolute like pride and joy. She absolutely loves Lucas so much. Gunther is kind of like my D&D nerd. He writes poetry and does like spoken word nights. He's just like very dramatic. He kind of has this like vintage flair to him. He really loves like Western vintage and then just like thrift shopping, and he is a thrifty little guy. I honestly hated Gunther Munch until my townie makeover of him, where I basically made him like Matt Mercer, and now I absolutely love him. Wolfgang, unfortunately, I have not finished. I am so sorry, because I know there's probably so many Wolfgang lovers like out there. And then Lucas, you know what? He might be my pride and joy as well. He's just an absolute little cutie. I dressed him in an awful lot of green. He wears his wellies an awful lot because obviously he has a green thumb. He is part of the kind of gardening group over there in Windenburg. He just loves the outdoors, like going out hunting for frogs. He spends all his days out and about. When I first downloaded those Crocs, which are a piece of custom content, I thought I was going to put them on so many of my kid sims because I was like, yeah, of course, like kids are obsessed with Crocs. And it turns out Lucas is one of the only ones who wears them, but they suit him so well. Micah Haas and Ulrich Faust, I personally always thought these two were sisters, and now I'm like, oh wait, maybe they are a couple who just probably don't have any relationship because the Sims team didn't really do relationship building all that often when it came to packs that came out before Snowy Escape. I definitely see Micah as kind of dark academia romantasy writer. In my eyes, that's exactly who she is. She loves a little bit of smut. She is a smut lover at her core. And then her partner Ulrich, who is a street graffiti artist, loves art, is definitely a perfectionist, and also a little bit rebellious. You know, if we had those groups that we had in the Sims 3 University, absolutely be a rebel. And I'm still so sad that social groups aren't a thing in this game, although they are a renegade. Then we have the Fires household. Unfortunately, Moira and Morgan, I haven't really focused on. I tried to make over Morgan and just like wasn't happy with the way that she turned out. However, Dominic and his daughter Siobhan, I'm sorry, but I slayed. So Dominic has a secret identity going on. You will notice that a couple of his party outfits look a little bit questionable, but that's just because he is a DJ with like a secret identity, kind of like Deadmau5 doesn't use his real name. His family obviously know who he is. He is a sleeper DJ, as me and Twitch chat like to call him, and Morgan is so embarrassed by it. She absolutely hates it, specifically because a lot of her friends like love him as a DJ, but she's like, that's my stepdad. This is so embarrassing. And then Siobhan Siobhan. I haven't really decided for Siobhan. I was thinking of making her like a matchmaker. She obviously loves pink and originally had that business casual look going on that we all had in like 2010, probably when she was designed. So I'm thinking either like a style influencer, but I think I'm more leaning towards a romantic matchmaker. Unfortunately for you DJ Candy fans, I haven't really completed DJ Candy just because I was struggling with Candy Bear, obviously very much inspired by DJ Candy, the My Sim. Had no idea that Yuki was also a My Sim, so I honestly feel like I stuck quite true to Yuki's original form in The Sims 4, but I actually really love it. I don't think I really want to turn her into like the gothic little vampire that we have in My Sims. I kind of like her as the little like gamer girl of growing together, so I think I'm gonna stick with the style I gave her. And Candy, I love her big pants, but I know that I just need to download so much more CC to do her justice. Party House, one of my favorite selection of townies from Windenburg, and these townie makeovers just made them even more so. They really imprinted themselves on my brain. I honestly don't even have like ridiculous amounts of like headcanons for these lot. I just think they are genuinely hands down some of the cutest Sims that I have ever seen in my entire life. I like to think that Jade is training to become a lawyer. Honestly, I might even put her through university at one point. I do think this is probably the household that I want to play the most potentially after making them over, just because I think they are so much fun. I just love all the different personalities that are in the houses. You've obviously got Marcus, who's that little bit older than everyone, and you kind of think of him as like a bro and maybe a little bit immature, but I feel like he's kind of taken these younger ones like under his wing and is like, yeah, I'll show you the ropes of like Windenburg. And then Paolo, I like to think, is like a semi-professional footballer from one of my most beloved to my enemy, Jacques Villarreal. Oh, he gives me the creeps. I absolutely hate him. Genuinely just not a nice man. I don't know what he did to his wife, but I don't approve of him. I'm suspicious of him. I think he's mean to his kids. He, to me, treats them all like Cinderella. Like, he's like, scrub the floors, do the dishes. You aren't leaving this house until all of your chores are done, even though he will hopscotch over to the park at any given opportunity. Next up, there's Luna. Luna and Hugo are twins. I don't know if they're meant to be twins. I don't know if one is meant to be younger than the other, but to me, they are twins. Luna is probably gonna go on to be an actress. She doesn't really even have like the want to be. She just wants to get out of that house, and I think moving to the Get Famous world, why can I not think of it, is probably her way out. She's like, yes, I will do drama classes, and yes, I will move as quickly as possible. And then I like to think Hugo actually also becomes famous, but as a famous chef, has a very good restaurant when he grows up, which I really love, because you always kind of assume Hugo is like the quieter one, probably wouldn't want to be in the limelight as much, and probably wouldn't be as like a chef, but still is very in his field, very well looked up to, and has an awful lot of respect. And then there's Max. I mean, love Max. He's a little rebel. Really just wanted to make Max look like he could beat you up with just one look, to be completely honest. Even though he's like 3 apples tall, I would still be scared of him. Joaquin, I actually went for like an athleisure look that I don't really do on an awful lot of Sims, but I kind of want to change him to a dance machine. His vibes just give me like dance machine, and I feel like I want to turn him into a party animal. I don't know. He's probably one of the only Sims where I really don't agree on like the traits that they gave him. To me, he is like life and soul of the party. I am not happy with Sergio. I like his outfit. It's just his face. Like, I wanted to give him this little like baby face, and kind of a dude who hasn't really grown up, can't grow a beard, and he's actually really jealous of Joaquin about that. To me, these two are are partners. They are life partners. I know that technically he is in a romantic relationship with Siobhan, but that woman is a beard if I ever did see one. He can't grow a beard, but he has a beard, if you catch my drift. Let's be real, this cookie cutter man could not seriously pull Siobhan. Speaking my truth. Björn is a dad who has dad clothes, and Clara is a mum who has mum clothes. I haven't really got any further with those two, so you're not going to take much inspiration about those two from this video, I can assure you. Sophia is the Taylor Swift of my save file. She wants to be a pop star. She definitely is giving her all to music, whilst her sister Elsa, I kind of went off the genius trait, and she wants to grow up to be a marine biologist. Definitely encouraged by her spotting Emily out in the waters while she was hanging with her sister at the pool. Her favorite animals are dolphins, so she's definitely gonna grow up, move to Sulani, become a marine biologist, make documentaries, and be an underwater photographer or something like that. Animal rights activist, which there are a few of when it comes to the kids. My favorite townies of all time obviously are the city living ones. I feel like I absolutely cooked with Raj. Oh my goodness gracious me. Fashion street kit was absolutely made for the Rasoya household. I feel like these two are probably the two Sims that got the massive glow up in my save file. I love Raj and Geeta. Their story can be quite sad depending on which way you look at it. She obviously wants a successful lineage, wants Raj to get married, settle down, and start having kids, but I personally don't really see that for Raj. I always kind of see him as a potential coming out story and kind of a story of acceptance. Not to say obviously that he can't then have a successful lineage and a big happy family, but yeah, I absolutely love these two. Another household that from making them over, I actually fell more and more in love with them, and now they hold a pretty special place in my heart. Love the beaters. Again, Aaron's fashion. Most of the city living townies are super fun to make over because so many of them I feel wear super bright and bold patterns. You can kind of go a bit more out there with the outfits that you choose, and I definitely feel that living in a city like Manchester, I definitely dress in very colourful bold patterns, and then when I go to different places in the UK, sometimes I get side-eyed a little bit, but I kind of wanted to draw that into a lot of the city living townies. Jasminda is the same, a bartender who is looking to maybe quit the bartending life when her kid comes along and perhaps get into painting. I kind of see her as an art critic. I can definitely see that, or with her being a vegetarian and hot-headed, I imagine she does get into fights whilst working behind the bar about animal rights and potentially could be a politician. Maybe more so once their kid grows up a little bit. With their outfit choices, I just wanted to dress them down a little bit. I wanted to make them feel younger. Sometimes the Sims team make a young adult and then I do a double take because I'm like, wait, you're a young adult? You aren't dressed like one, in my opinion. Fave townie of all time is Salim Benali. I adore him. He, in my eyes, is just incredible. I love all the outfits that I gave him. He's an aspiring writer. He specifically writes screenplays. He's a massive sci-fi nerd in my head. And so that's kind of what he's focusing on. He has an awful lot of sci-fi memorabilia. That tends to be what he spends his paycheck on when he does get his paycheck, and maybe why he's not living in the best apartment. But you know what? Might not be the best apartment. The man is dressing well in my personal save file. I do feel bad that so many of the feminine Sims in City Living, they were like, yeah, she's an artist. It does say in the family bio that Anaya is kind of having to choose between getting into singing or focusing on her art. I say, why not both? Which is funny because Baco in my headcanon is actually a music producer. So I feel like he's trying to encourage her to get into more so the music side of things so that they can work together and be kind of this power couple, because he knows that Billy, their kid, is going to be pretty artistic. He, again, has a very vintage look to him, more so kind of 70s, 80s vibes, like with the shades. He loves yellow and oranges, so I tied a lot of like yellow into his fits. It does seem to be that the Sims team, when they decide on a color for a townie, they will absolutely stick with it. I noticed that most frequently in businesses and hobbies. It just feels like everyone in that had a color scheme. I'm not really a color scheme girl that much when it comes to townie makeovers, but a lot of you said you like it because at a glance you can tell like which sim is which based on that color scheme, which I do understand. Billy, I like to think she's heavily inspired by Penny Pizzazz, who also lives in San Myshuno and wants to grow up to be like a stylist or maybe a fashion photographer. Chat, come get your man. Come pick up Akira. Love him. Love how he also wears skirts and crop tops. Yes, my Twitch chat did request to see him in a crop top, and it only felt right to give him one for his workout gear. There are a couple of masculine sims in San Myshuno who do wear skirts in my personal save file, and I love that. Again, it's kind of that more, I guess, accepting, like, diverse route that the city kind of has in my eyes. He was honestly written to wear a skirt. He was written by the woman, and the woman was in fact me. Miko is so flipping cute, very stylish, and kind of has a very like cutesy vibe to her outfits. Feel like that has always been the case even from like her pre-made days. And then Darling, I need to change up a couple of Darling's outfits. Obviously, it's quite hard to sometimes do non-binary in fashion just because of the way, especially old masculine clothes kind of fit the feminine body shape that Darling does currently have. But I do think I did a pretty good job. I went for definitely like baggier clothes, and especially if you use like some of the newer ones, specifically kits, you can get them fitting a lot better. Honestly, kind of one downside of using custom content is I feel like sometimes the edges and like the creases are really, really sharp, which kind of just define a Sim's body way more than I would like it to. Don't even perceive Penny Pizzazz. I did her so dirty. I really like some of her fits, but she was genuinely one of the first townies I ever made over, and we've had so many good like creator sim assets since I made her over that I need to go back in and I need to zhuzh her up because she is a style influencer and she needs to look like one. By Panic Couple, the Fangs, Lily Feng can step on me any day of the week. I call her mummy. Oh my Jesus, just like looking, she just feels like she's staring into my soul. I get nervous even looking at this townie makeover. Absolutely adore her. Obviously, they are both politicians. I actually used some of the career unlocks on these two, which was actually really nice to kind of play around with those because it's not something that I get to play around with all that often. Even that for the athletic career with like the weightlifting belt, you're probably thinking, Molly, where the heck did you get that? It's a career unlock, which I did actually do a whole video. I might link it at the end of this one about the career unlock outfits. Very, very helpful if you maybe don't play with custom content, but you kind of want some extra assets that you didn't know were included in the game. Diego, I actually went heavy with the Dream Home Decorator because I made him over, I think for like my review and like overviews of that pack, and then I couldn't see him as anything other than an interior designer. So he uses an awful lot of Dream Home Decorator, and I just think it suits him so well. You can see though how frequently I use certain assets. I feel like especially the San Myshuno boys, an awful lot of them have similar like tops and things to one another. Again, we do not perceive Caleb Vitor. I am not happy with him. I am absolutely going to be changing him. However, Lilith, get in my basket. absolutely adore her, was inspired by Alice Cullen, which is hilarious because I don't actually think I had like Alice Cullen on the brain when I was making her over. I just think she's really fun because I played around with her fashion. Obviously, she kind of has like that dark moodiness to her, but then I was also like, let me modernize her a little bit so she kind of flits between the two. Vladdy Daddy, I never know how to feel about my Vladdy. I don't think I'm that happy with him. I genuinely think I'm gonna change him up. Sometimes there are Sims where I'm like, I need to download custom content for you because what I have in my game currently is not doing you justice, and I feel like he is that. But I also don't know if I want to go for like the whole hog, like sexy version of him, or like, you know, scary vampire version of him. It's so tough to know what to do with him. And finally, we have the Brindleton Bay households. Bren and Brant hecking. Bren, I like to think of as like a garden slash landscaper. He loves the outdoors. He loves going for like long walks. He's kind of like the lumberjack, and boy, he is built like one. But yeah, I kind of made his style like an outdoorsy kind of dude, whereas Brent is more of the artistic one. He again is a primary school teacher in my headcanon, so he wears quite a lot of like bright fun colors. The kids absolutely love him. He loves baking. He kind of is, I guess, a little bit more introverted and like staying at home a little bit more. They are basically the Sims version of opposites attract. However, I do kind of like it that it looks, especially in his hot weather fit, that Brent has kind of had a little bit of an influence on what Brent has started to wear. He's kind of not taking himself as serious. Katarina Lynx, I so struggled with at first because they really didn't give her any personality other than, you know, she likes cats. And so I haven't finished her outfits, but I have definitely gone more of like a gothic route, and I feel like that really suits her. And then Supriya Delgato, a Sim I used to hate because she was my Eliza Pancakes. She used to crop up all the time. She would used to stalk my Sims. Since my townie makeover, love her. Honestly, can't get enough of Supriya Delgato. I fear another Sim that they just did absolutely dirty, and I think I just made her so much more interesting. She's kind of the money maker. She is a vet, and she is like the main source of income for this household. We love a little boss. And then I've forgotten his name, but her husband, oh, I feel so bad saying that, but is like either a work from home dad or just like a stay at home dad, and I absolutely love that. He's super hands-on with the kids. Pierce, my little Piercy, he wants to be a dog. He growls and barks at people that he doesn't like. He is that kid. But I can definitely see him growing up to be a politician, like moving to San Myshuno, and again, being another animal rights activist. Don't ask me why I was on my like animal rights activism when making over all of these Sims. There are just some that I feel like it really makes sense for, and he is one of them. He always wears shorts, even in his cold weather. He loves scavenging. Honestly, wouldn't even be surprised if he did eventually turn into a werewolf. And there we have it. There are all my townie makeovers. I know I had to speed this up like quite quick, but I did happen to like click on all the clothes, so you can maybe potentially see like what packs they were from. Like I said, I doubt I'm gonna be able to get back to everyone, especially if you're requesting where custom content specifically is from. But if you are just like requesting which pack certain pieces are from, that could be a little bit easier for me to reply to, but I will try and get back to as many of you as possible. I know I didn't click on their hairs. That would have took so long in like recording because it would have had to load up like all of my hairs, and a lot of my Sims wear multiple hairs, so I don't think I'm gonna do that even in future videos. Even though it was so sped up, I still hope you can manage to like find out where assets are from. If you need to pause it at any point, obviously feel free to. I appreciate you all so, so much. I'm so sorry that it was so long, but I knew that these types of videos were going to be, hence why I had to split them up into like 4 different parts. So if you enjoyed this one, let me know, give it a thumbs up, leave your comments down below, questions, queries, anything like that. If you maybe want to add on some additional like lore, or maybe your own headcanons that you have for these townies, and we can all kind of like chop and change and like get inspired by each other, feel free to do that. If you want to keep them to yourselves, that is also okay. You are allowed to gatekeep, my friend. I do hope you all enjoyed this one. I know so many of you have been asking for it, so thank you for making it all the way through. If you got to this point in the video, I appreciate you very much, and I will speak to you all in my next one. Bye now.